All right, we are on episode 9. And yeah, after watching this episode, it's not too it's a heavy episode, but it's like not too heavy in terms of like any story or lore or anything. It's heavy in terms of like I guess feelings, but it's not like heavy real world topics. It's just that if you're invested with the characters, it's pretty heavy, and we're really actually bringing it back to season 4 with this, where the deals and stuff is just heavy. I think that's it. Listen, I've been invested with these characters for a long time, and now this is appearing. It's like, yeah, I'm hoping it's good. But is it good? Well, you guys will know about my thoughts and feelings about it right now. Okay, we basically have a flashback here, and this flashback is nothing too particular to which character, but this is basically back at season 4, where, well, somewhere in between season 4 episodes where Luka has to basically leave. The reason why Luka is leaving is because back in season 4, he does know Marinette and Adrien's secret identities as Ladybug and Cat Noir. Or the other way around is your choice, really. And of course, it does, because this scene right here, it's a bit of a nod to maybe some of those like Adrien and Luka shippers, I guess, because this is technically just exactly the same scene as when Marinette confess and kiss Adrien, but there's no kiss. It's just more like a bro is really worried about another bro, basically. Of course, Luka has to basically say something to confirm suspicions, because Adrien just does not believe still that Luka knows their secret identities. While he doesn't say Ladybug, it makes sense. He says he just basically acknowledges and says it in a way to Adrien that yes, I know that you are Cat Noir. In a clever way. Just super subtle. Not like in your face. Makes sense in a public place. Technically, this could count as maybe a Halloween episode, but not really. Or with the heavy feelings and like just horror-like elements, at least for some parts and themes. Yeah, I guess that could work, but it's not Halloween, and I put it up to this date. But I do like the screenshot. And this is basically Marinette's dream. She goes in and out of being Marinette or Ladybug, and just basically try to run away from people asking her questions. And this is all a nightmare. When she sees Luka, she thought she can open up and reveal the secret. If you don't know, if the secret is that Gabriel is actually Hawkmoth and stuff like that, he didn't really save anybody. Unfortunately, since this isn't the dream world, she's not exactly talking to Luka here. She's talking to Adrien. And since this is a nightmare, it just kind of like, just go place in her mind all the bad stuff, right? So yeah, in short, the secret is literally just eating away at her. Like, she wants to say it, but she knows that she made a promise to Gabriel not to tell Adrien about this. It doesn't want to hurt Adrien. And of course, Natalie too. Natalie kind of forced her to do this as well. We cut back to Adrien. Adrien is a bit down, and the reason why he's a bit down is because, well, there's some renovations and a talk to give Gabriel Agreste a giant statue. So season 6 takes place basically before the final time skip of season 5. So because in the very last episode, season 5, of the two-parter, not the actual final episode. The final episode was an Earth Day episode, so that doesn't count. But yeah, after the fight against Hawkmoth, there was like a time skip of a few years, possibly. So, in short, season 6 is technically taking the Dragon Ball Super route, where it takes place like between the end of the finale, the true finale, and basically the quote-unquote epilogue, which is the time skip. So yeah, because in the time skip, there was a statue of Gabriel. This time, there's no statue. Disney might have retconned a tiny bit of like specifics, but it's still about the same. So we now know where season 6 takes place in the timeline. But yeah, his just like this whole thing about his dad getting a statue, it doesn't really sit right with him. It makes sense if you know Adrian's story throughout the seasons. He has very mixed feelings with his dad. Like, very mixed. Meanwhile, Marinette, because of this secret that she keeps, and now the stress is literally going through her head, she basically mixes up her words a bit too much. She kind of just talks mixing of like regular Marinette, stressed out, and she kind of has some of that Ladybug mannerism just kind of spilling in there. She really almost she almost cannot handle it and kind of always let the secret out. Like, luckily, it was more so the secret that she's keeping from Adrien, but because she's Ladybug, hard to tell what she's what now since because of that nightmare. Tiki did basically tell Marinette maybe she should do something about it. Tell him the truth is one thing, but maybe something else, so like focus on something else. Marinette is basically kind of agreeing with this, but she needs to basically talk to somebody about it. And she's gonna visit Natalie. Yeah, Adrien is still playing with that frog back at the El Toro episode. Yeah, back at the El Toro episode. So yeah, we have some continuity there. He's just kind of wondering, like, what is his dad? Because his dad never treated him right. He was never there. And even when he was there, again, it was just wrong. It's like not how he's supposed to act as a father compared to other people. But also, it's just that Gabriel saved all Paris, which in Adrien's mind does not make a lick of sense. And he did ask Plague about it, but Plague tries to basically swerve away because Plague knows the truth. But he told Adrien that, I was just a temporal energy form when I'm in the ring. So, in that regard, all the memories I have are a bit fuzzy. So I'm not too reliable. You know, it works, but we all know Plague's lying here. Marinette basically did visit Natalie a bit first after this by context clues, because she is going with Adrien and Natalie to talk about the statue. Reason why? She's Adrien's girlfriend. Most likely Adrien recommended that she can come with. Also, Marinette has basically some snacks for Adrien. So we go to Town Hall, and if you remember this guy on the left, this guy, he's the art director. He's basically the art person who wants to make this statue, which is like at least 20 meters tall. It's a giant ass statue. But if you don't remember, this is the exact same guy in season 1. This is the biggest callback. And if you don't know, last time he copied himself as Cat Noir because he really loves Ladybug. Technically as an art inspiration, but it kind of got a little creepy at season 1. Don't question it. But the thing is, like, season 1 gets a pass because technically it's the traditional monster or villain of the week, like regular Sailor Moon, and has the Sailor Moon-esque vibes of it. Or Power Rangers if you really prefer that. So yeah, villains being this guy being a creep. Well, yeah, it doesn't seem like he learned his lesson fully, as well when he's glazing Gabriel Agreste because he works with him and yada yada yada. We don't know if they're true or not. Last time in season 1, he said he knows Ladybug, which he doesn't. But Adrien did basically kind of put him on the spot, but he's like, Gabriel would never do that. He's a good man. He saved Paris. There's no way he's not perfect. God. Of course, Adrien walked out. Marinette followed suit. Although not, I guess I could talk about it, but after this. Right, so right here, Adrien is just telling Marinette that everything right now is just confusing for him. And if people see his father like this, it just feels like there's something that he's not getting. Which, you couldn't really blame him. He knows his dad for a while and in the private life, yet everybody else outside in the world knows his father something different. The only people who basically do know how he's actually like is Marinette, the GF, right? But also Marinette's friends and his friends as well, and Natalie. But it seems like they had to keep this facade for some reason. And it's just like he's out of the loop. So, just going back a bit, this screenshot here, Natalie's basically kind of warning Marinette, because since Marinette's still stressed out here, again, context, Marinette was stressed out from the secret. She almost let it spill out, and Natalie kind of knows about this. Oh boy. But luckily Marinette didn't exactly. She caught herself, but you know, Marinette can only go for so long just to keep this to herself, honestly. Marinette did actually got some time to talk to Natalie about maybe telling Adrien the truth at this point, because the secret is literally just eating her up. She's very stressed, and she doesn't know if she could actually like keep it going. Unfortunately, it seems like Natalie doesn't exactly hold the same feelings as Marinette does. While basically they're doing this for Adrien, it does seem like Natalie is blackmailing Marinette about all this, even though technically she knows the truth as well. But it does seem like that she's taking the secret a bit too well for basically maybe the audience's liking. And to be honest, I do get it why. She is an adult, and she is an adult, and I mean for her job beforehand and currently now, she's a professional. She knows how to keep secrets, so this isn't a problem that, you know, this will bother. It's not a problem that will bother her, but it does bother Marinette because Marinette is just a teenager. But knowing that Natalie, at this point, while she does care for Marinette because, you know, Marinette is Adrien's boyfriend, a girlfriend, damn it. The only thing is that it does seem like in terms of secrets, Natalie just does not want this out at all, especially since with that letter. And to be honest, I thought the letter would play a part here, but no, it didn't. I would assume maybe later. Oh yeah, we are actually halfway through the episode, technically, and we're just barely past that point. There's not much to talk about the intro because it's pretty simple, but I didn't want to get too much into detail because of the heavy subject matter for just if you're, you know, interested in following the characters at the very least. But if you don't really know, I guess watch season 4, but then season 4 is not exactly the best way to start Miraculous at that point, so I don't know. But at this point, Marinette is getting guitar lessons from Luka. And Luka is actually in Brazil. A lot of foreshadowing in this episode. We'll get to it when we get to it. Marinette basically is getting these guitar lessons, of course, but she is fumbling a lot. But then she got an idea. She will go to Luka right now in the next hour and 45 minutes. Oh yeah, so Luka apparently has a girlfriend in Brazil. Yeah, and you think it would be nice, but it's not exactly true. Man, you know, here's the thing. This is technically the second time Luka actually lied in the series. You know, it's pretty strange, don't you think? But yeah, this is technically Luka's girlfriend, quote unquote, because, well, I don't remember the name of the girl. It's kind of just there. She's just there. You know, they just added her in. But you'll know why she's added in anyway. Later on into the episode, we'll get to that. But yeah, she's just Luka's fake girlfriend, just pretending, because Luka has a secret. And unfortunately, it seems like Luka is keeping some secrets from his fake GF, of course, and maybe to Marinette and everybody else, because we get a flashback from Luka. So this flashback takes place after maybe a day or so from the season finale of season 5. The finale episode of season 5. this is Luka basically talking to Marinette that he has to leave again. And the reason why? Well, Marinette, it was a logical choice because he does know the secret identities from Ladybug Cat Noir. But Marinette's like, but Monarch's gone. You don't need to go. And if anything does happen, he's like, yeah, but okay. So this next line, which Luka does say, basically does contradict almost what happened in the season 5 finale, and maybe it's just a Disney thing. As well, you could tell that he does know that the Butterfly Miraculous, got a new owner. This could be in line with the original timeline, or this might just be a contradiction because we don't know if this actually took place season 6, like before season 6, or this is like just days before the season, after the season 5 finale, where Ladybug did tell the others that the Miraculous of the Butterfly was missing. We don't know for sure, but yeah. But Luka has one more reason, and he transforms and activates with the snake powers of rewind time. And he says this: the reason why he wants to leave is because, surprise, he loves Marinette, and he still does. And while he does want Marinette to be happy, and he does know that Marinette and Adrien are basically the best fit for each other, Luka knows that already, and he does respect that. It's just that the thing is if he sees Marinette and Adrien a lot, and because of his feelings for Marinette are very strong, he might get jealous, maybe become angry, and possibly get acclimatized, and then he gets secret identities get revealed, and yada yada yada. It's a domino effect. And to be honest, could you really blame him for thinking about that and wanting to leave? Just because of a jealousy of Adrien being with Marinette. And don't worry, it doesn't become a triangle of sorts, hopefully. But yeah. But the thing is, Marinette did try to tell Luka that maybe maybe we don't need to. Maybe I just need to be careful not to be with Adrien around you or stuff like that. To be honest, it might sound like a douche move to just neglect Adrien from here or there, but to be honest, it would get a little weird, right? And I feel like if Luka just tells Adrien about any of this, maybe he'll understand, or maybe Adrien will just have the same thoughts pattern as Marinette, because to be honest, Marinette and Adrien at this point in time have like the same brain waves or something like that. But Marinette does care about her friends, all of them, and she does want them to be comfortable around her no matter what it takes. And that's both a good and a bad thing. She's just human after all. And was it the really good decision here? Well, you have to talk to Adrien first, that's for sure. But, Luka should tell maybe Adrien about this, because I think Adrien is very reasonable. And, it's not like if it was like Nino that no. But yeah. Unfortunately, even so, after hearing all of this, the reset happens, and because the reset happens, Luka did actually get everything off his chest to Marinette, so he doesn't feel too bummed out. It's not the exact right word, but not too bummed out. And then he lied to Marinette that he has a GF in Brazil ever since he was training in Brazil. Apparently, he was in Brazil when he was training, right, with the one of the Guardians. So yeah, lies, and that's why he has a fake GF right now. Cutting back to Adrien and Natalie. Adrien told Natalie that he doesn't want the statue, and the message goes to the mayor's office. Ladybug did arrive and basically tell Luka to give the miraculous to her because she needs to do something. And the reason why is because she knows that she trusts Luka a lot because Luka is the most level-headed person in her entire friend group, which is the correct answer. Luka is the most level-headed and the most responsible and everything else that a friend should be. Because if it was Alia, then well, we already know what happened with Alia, right? It was not a very good idea, and she would be very pissed. So, and of course, Alia is not exactly the most stable because she has her own biases. Luka doesn't have bias against anybody, and what's more, Luka does know Adrien and Marinette's secret identities, so he was literally the only person she could talk to about. And she starts spilling the secret that she kept from Adrien. She told everything, how she feels, how long it was been, everything. And she almost basically broke down. It was pretty hard to basically watch like Ladybug just break down like this because it's basically all her stress just leaving out. And while she thought that she could have a clear head after this, it's not the case because Luka just has a lot of questions. Luka was basically super confused and he doesn't exactly know what to think. Basically, this is something that he's not exactly prepared for, but he does try to quickly reason with. And the thing is that, listen, if Luka was going to lie at least 2 times in this series, maybe 3 times with the fake GF, yeah, Luka's gonna keep more secrets. Guys, I think we lost good boy Luka because at this point, yeah, this is too heavy, and he knows Adrien doesn't like it, but he does know what he needs to do. And unfortunately, that thing needs Ladybug's Miraculous. Now, Ladybug just wants to know, and then maybe she can do it by herself. That's like halfway the worst thing, because the thing is that I feel like Ladybug should trust Luka at this point. But at this point, I think Luka just does not know what Ladybug actually feels at this moment. Basically, both parties are at fault because when Ladybug asks, "What are you gonna do with it?" and Luka's like, "Just trust me on this," but he never tells her what he's gonna do with it. So they were basically arguing about this, and the time reset. Marinette was going to activate it, and Luka just realizes his own mistake. He just saw himself being what Marinette was back then. Not being truthful and not trusting anybody. Even though Ladybug trusts him full amount. And then when Marinette just tell him everything about Adrien's secret, means that he got the most trust out of Ladybug. And Luka never really returned that same favor. So with one reactivation of the time reset, Marinette is basically kind of heartbroken. And now, at this point, she literally has almost nobody that she can actually trust with the burden of the secret anymore. Yeah. And unfortunately, she does know how this would happen. So she gives back the Miraculous to Luka. And Luka asks, well, is there something else? No. Marinette just says that Luka is just a good friend. And, just saying good luck to your girlfriend. Because, Marinette actually does know about his girlfriend because she saw her on video. And Luka's like, oh, you just came here to tell me that? That's so sweet. Sweet, yes. And to be honest, if this whole thing was just normal and it was on par what Marinette really wanted to tell Luka, and afterwards, like, when she leaves, is good luck with your girlfriend. But has to skip that part and just go with that. It is an unfortunate part, and yeah, was it really handled correctly in terms of like the characters, what they did? I think both of them are at fault, technically speaking. While Ladybug has more justification, Luka also has the same amount of justification, but the only problem is that he should have known, but the secret that she gave him was a bit too heavy on his part, and he basically gone to rash decisions. Just like how Gabriel Agreste rushed to just go for one solution to save his wife. The parallels are paralleling. Going back to Paris, this guy, yes, you know him, the statues got cancelled and he's pissed, and then the new Hawkmoth basically acclimatized him. Now here's the funny thing. The more longer it keeps up, basically not like a quarter way in through this, you'll hear Gabriel's voice. And the reason why, he responds very well to Gabriel's voice. I think the guy really wants to be Gabriel, and you know why? Because, well, when it comes to the villain name for him, it's something that he always had in the back of his mind ever since he met Gabriel. But he feels like it's a bit too weird, and it is pretty weird. Because just like the title of the episode, his villain name is Mr. Agreste. And guess what? He becomes a giant statue of Gabriel Agreste. And there's the reason why Gabriel was in the title, in the theme sequence, like the opening sequence, right? It was because of this, and of course of some of the few flashbacks that we did get. And let's just say, it's good to know that Gabriel's voice actor, is getting a paycheck from this, because Genshin is not really doing favors for him. FYI. But either way, it's actually nice to actually hear Gabriel Agreste speak again. And man, the guy kind of basically... So the guy who got akumatized does a pretty good job of trying to pretend to be Gabriel. But you can hear some cracks in his line delivery, where he's talking like he is Gabriel, but then he also talks as what Gabriel would say. And the thing is that when Adrien see him, he's just in shock. It's like his father just came back to haunt him and stuff like that. Flag told him to move and transform, but Adrien was just kind of stuck there. Thankfully, Natalie did save him until the giant hand crushed inside Adrien's new room. Yeah, apparently this is Adrien's new room. You can tell because the stairs are on the other side of the building, apparently. Natalie was a bit trapped, and I know the screenshot wasn't exactly the best. But yeah, Adrien went to the bathroom, transformed, came out, and saved Natalie. And for the next minute and a half, just straight up minute and a half, we basically have Adrien Cat Noir versus Mr. Gabriel Agreste. And it's a very good fight. But throughout the fight, while it was going kind of even, more and more, Adrien just doesn't feel like he actually wants to hurt the statue. There's a lot of things that he does want to do, basically like attack physically and all. But every time he does and use Cataclysm, especially in full contact, you can tell from his face and some of his reactions after his main reaction we got from him. He's starting to basically waver, just not really in the fight. Like, he cannot bring himself to actually hurt his father. That I also mentioned that Mr. Agreste is technically just Mr. Fantastic and the Thing combined. If the Thing could actually throw his body part. Technically, this guy is Boo, okay? This guy is just Majin Buu. Cat Noir jumps up, And just like with every other attack, and of course the straight punch that he actually did block, all of them using Cataclysm. Because if he got trapped within the clay, because the statue is not a solid rock, it's just clay. Yeah. Because if he didn't does that, he would get trapped for sure. But the Cataclysm is there to basically destroy it. However, while it's basically the least durable villain, the regeneration is literally what he just needs, because the regeneration was a bit too much. And while Cat Noir does know that at this point it is not his father, just because he looks like his father, he cannot bring himself to basically do true harm to it. But Cataclysm does not have any effect, because when a chunk of it just when it does connect and it does disintegrate a part of it, Mr. Agreste could just stop the connection to one of his limbs and just regrow it, just regenerate from it. And basically, yeah. Not to mention Mr. Agreste just belittling Cat Noir here, just basically saying that how Adrien is basically a worthless child, worthless son, or stuff like that. And basically Cat Noir tries to call Ladybug. Now, Cat Noir did actually cataclysm this building, but unfortunately, it was a multi-layered structure, and Cat Noir was not prepared for the speed that it was going for. So his cataclysm was basically caught off guard. And basically, Mr. Agreste basically grew a smaller hand from his finger, is very creepy, and took Cat Noir's Miraculous. And then he tries to find Cat Noir to see who is really behind the mask, because, the new Hawkmoth said so. Unfortunately, he was not there, but he got the ring, and now Ladybug show up. And now, if you're wondering where Ladybug was in the entire time, remember, she flew as fast as she can back to Paris, because by the time that Adrien called her, she must as well been just in the middle of the sea, because she was flying back to Paris, but now at faster speeds, because it was emergency. Unfortunately, without Cat Noir, Ladybug did get captured because of not just the sheer size of this villain, but it's more so just because of the regeneration. It does not slow him down enough, so her attacks does not have enough, and every single lucky charm that she does try to produce is just useless. There's a fencing reaper. It's kind of useless because it's just basically slicing through an object that just keeps regenerating. She got a perfume bottle, which makes no sense, and then a megaphone, which she dropped because, well, she got grabbed. Adrien, seeing that Ladybug's in trouble, basically tries to fight back with a metal pipe. Of course, it doesn't work because he's not strong enough. Ladybug now realizes, and she does know how Adrien feels, remembering back then, maybe yesterday, of course. She told Adrien to get the megaphone and speak through it, and Adrien knows what to do. Adrien let all his true feelings towards his father and his questions towards the villain. And this did slow down the statue. Adrien basically just calls out his father for all the things that he has done to him, and all the mishaps that were along the way, and all the questions that he wants to know. Like, why did he leave and go around the world? Why did he leave when his mother was sick? Why did he never introduce his grandparents to Adrien? Why does he not want Adrien to be with Marinette? All those questions and a bit more, all personal to Adrien. And since because this is not the real Gabriel, Mr. Agreste, the person who is akumatized, just does not know what to answer. And you can actually tell that while the big statue turns to stone, it actually kind of falls back to the guy's original voice mixed with Gabriel's voice. And it kind of just goes back and forth to a point where basically the final question that he asked basically turned the whole statue into brittle stone, and falls apart, which by extension frees Ladybug and captures the akumatized villain. After getting a lesson from Ladybug, which you should never assume you know your idols. A very good lesson indeed. It's basically another take of Don't Meet Your Heroes. It's more so do not idolize a person because you met them. Because you don't know who they are as a real person behind the scenes and behind the facade. Sean Schemmel. After giving back the ring, Marinette Ladybug told Flag to go back to Adrien. Of course, when I said Adrien, I mean Cat Noir, but you get the gist, honestly. Ladybug thanks Adrien about helping her throughout that time, and she does know that Adrien might have a hard time actually trying to go up against somebody who looks like his father. Adrien is just kind of proud that he actually did say it, and it did actually alleviate some worried thoughts in his head, in his heart. Basically give a fist bump to Ladybug. And yeah, after both Cat Noir and Ladybug basically meet up in the sunset, they gone back home, and it seems like this was a mirror this whole time. Very hard to tell. Don't know why it looks like this. I think Disney did some sort of error or just not think of this through. But yeah, Adrien did say all those stuff. While he does feel a tiny bit better, it's not exactly the real thing. He does wish that he can have his father back and tell him literally straight up, but he just wants his father back. That's all he wants. The anger and the questions that he have could just be in the sidelines for now. He just wants his father back. Marinette did call Adrien just to check if he was okay. And of course, Adrien just has to put up a face and say that he's okay. While Marinette knows not exactly, she doesn't want to pry too much. So she's okay with it. Unfortunately, since Adrien is usually keeping his feelings to himself when it comes to family matters at this point in time still, Marinette knows, but it's up to Adrien when, because she cannot really force anybody. It's just when they're ready. But I think at this point, it's kind of good, since Marinette has her own thing to keep. And considering that her secret that she has still, with Tiki just basically saying that, well, at least you're not mixing up your words, and now Ladybug basically with a slightly new resolve after talking to Luka, she knows that she cannot get any other ideas. Anybody she tries to get help from this, at this point, from the people that she can trust with the secret, already shown that they cannot be trusted with the secret just because it's a bit too much and it's always the same. Why didn't you tell him? But unfortunately, it is a scenario where you just have to be there. And unfortunately for her, it is too late. Because, like Natalie said, it's too late to basically give him the truth at this point. But what if I told you that there is one way where Marinette could still keep this a secret, but lets Adrien know about the truth about his father? Well, here's the thing. It's the letter. Gabriel's or Hawkmoth's, the original Hawkmoth's, letter to Adrien if he ever passed away, and yada yada yada. If Marinette gives him the letter, just saying that she found this somewhere, right? She found this somewhere, gives it to Adrien. Adrien reads it, and maybe Adrien has some questions. It might not be the best way, but that does basically leave just a tiny bit of things. It does technically leave Natalie very vulnerable at that state, because she technically should know about the letter as well. Not only that, but that does basically break a certain trust that Marinette has with Natalie and Natalie has with Marinette. Now the second part of that is that, well, the second pro to it is that Marinette never really needs to say anything. Gabriel did all the work basically, and knowing this a little bit of that story, right? Now Adrien might be a bit more focused on that, but then maybe Adrien would be like, but then why did he save the world afterwards? It's a good question, which we don't exactly know. And so for Marinette, she would technically not need to feel the guilt because the truth is already out and it's just one part of it. The only other part would just be what actually really happened. But that's a Ladybug problem. And unfortunately, does this help Ladybug at all? No. It doesn't exactly help Ladybug. It helps Marinette. It just does not help Ladybug. It only helps Ladybug halfway. Ladybug actually needs to tell the real truth of what happened on that day. Because if Adrien ever got that resolved about his father not being who he actually is, that's only solving half of the problem. He will now want to know why his father changed for the better, in a way. Yeah, it's a bit heavy stuff, but that's my scenario. I don't think Marinette needs to tell Adrien the truth at all. Ladybug does need to tell the truth at a certain point, but it's not as complicated as it should be, because the letter is a plot MacGuffin at this point that could actually help Adrien and actually save the relationship between him and Marinette. The only problem is basically the trust that for Ladybug. And then when Ladybug figures it out, but when he figured out that Ladybug was there, of course, and he had to ask Ladybug about it. Maybe ask Captain Ward, possibly. For some reason, And then maybe at that point, we can have something there. It's a bit more drama, but I feel like that would be much more better for Marinette's sake. While it would be still bad down the line, it's not going to be as bad if Adrien will figure it out all at once. Because when Luka found it all at once, we know what that happened. Yeah. So I'm hoping that maybe, just maybe, that this season goes on. I'm hoping that later in the season, Marinette will give Adrien the letter. Adrien will find out. Adrien will then ask Natalie. And then after maybe that, depending on how he feels, it doesn't exactly matter, because I do think that Adrien, as himself or Captain War, will go ask Ladybug on the final steps of what happened, and he can actually confirm what there it is. Because that will leave Marinette safe, but Ladybug will still need to deal with it. And Ladybug is Marinette. So no matter what, it's a lose-lose situation for Marinette. There's no real help from here. And we can all blame Natalie for it. Oh yeah, before the episode actually ends, we get a redo of this. Now this is basically a flashback to what actually happened between this time interaction with Ladybug and Luka. And while his fake GF basically came back with maybe some snacks, she saw that Luka was with Marinette. And guess what? She has a Kwame, the hummingbird Miraculous. Meaning, since they're in Brazil has a guardian for themselves and a set of different Miraculous. And if you know about the leaks from season 4, this might introduce two things. First, we were promised Miraculous World Brazil. We never got that. It was supposed to be released last year, but I can only assume that because of the integration between the original studio to Disney studio, plans had changed, so Brazil was delayed. Hopefully that'll be good. But this also brings up another thing, and that's the second thing. The second thing is that because of the leaks, Brazil was also a crossover episode, was released to be a crossover episode between Miraculous and another IP. another hero IP from a different studio. Now, would we still get that Miraculous and other studio IP, or will we just get Miraculous World Brazil? That remains to be seen. But Miraculous World Brazil, but we do get a crossover, possibly from a Disney property. That might actually sound a bit interesting. I would not be surprised because Miraculous is technically, while not part of Marvel, it is a crossover that can happen. Imagine we see Miles Morales. I really doubt it, but yeah, that might be a Sony thing. Maybe, but Disney and Sony, they still have to have their problems need to be sorted out with Spider-Man. I think that could work, honestly. And that's the end of this episode. That's the end of the review and the episode. Overall, a lot of things to say, and I know this video is pretty long, but it's a lot of heavy stuff that really needs to be talked about. For the characters, again, if you're invested with the characters, it's a very heavy-esque story, especially with Adrien and his problems with Gabriel. And it's just it's very hard to watch Adrien in this episode because he was the one pretty much suffering, just like back in season 4. But not only that, Marinette was also the one suffering through stress. And you could blame Ladybug for this, Marinette for this, because she should tell this anyway to Adrien. But remember, she kept a promise to Gabriel. It is his dying wish. So maybe Marinette couldn't say it because she has to respect his word. But since he's gone, she cannot really do anything about it. And Natalie, in this episode, just straight up blackmailed her for not saying it. So yeah. What's the rating of this episode? 8 out of 10. It's an 8 out of 10 episode. A really good, really well done episode. And if this was back at season 4, this would be a 10 out of 10 because it's good. But because of the timeline placement, we already know why it's not there. But yeah, I do like the writing. I do like the story. I do like how it goes through. And I'm just gonna say this because this is the full Disney era. When her GF told Luka that she's basically doing this because it's a secret that he wants to do, but with the pretenses that he goes with, she doesn't know that if Luka really wants to continue on with this fake BFGF thing. Respectable for her, but I really thought that Disney changed him to be gay. And I'm gonna be clear, while I don't mind the idea that Luka is gay, Luka still having a massive crush on Ladybug, on Marinette specifically, is super weird because he does love Marinette, but he was always so normal and always just okay that no matter what, he always respects her decision. And because Luka was always that's how we thought about it. Now, while he still has that, deep down he has feelings for her still, and it's a major issue, and he knows it. It's a good thing he took responsibility though. But yeah, the Luka thing wasn't needed, but Luka is there to drive the story, just like how he was back in season 4. But yeah, it's very hard to know, and I do feel bad. Yeah. Basically, in this episode, it's kind of a lose-lose situation for almost everybody, except Natalie. Thank you for blackmailing Marinette, Natalie. And to be honest, if you don't know about it and if you haven't watched season or episode whatever where Natalie is secretly evil still, this episode kind of brings up to a point where Natalie is actually walking in Gabriel's shoes at this point, just being a nicer parent figure, but still walking in those same shoes. It's very disappointing if you ask me. Alright, I think I'm going to stop the video from here. Again, 8 out of 10, pretty good. So yeah. But just a little heads up, I don't know if I will be posting another video in the next 2 days by the time this recording. So if I do, it'll be good. If not, we'll wait. You guys will have to wait for another week because I'll be busy for a while, or just this week. I know I am taking a break, but it's a semi-break, and doing these reviews is a slight break. It's just because it's just me talking and getting my thoughts out. It's a kind of a little stress relief, honestly. And this show is just an enjoyable watch to kind of like to relieve some stress. That's about it. But yeah, the reviews might be a bit slower, but when we hit to a certain episode, we'll get there because they're still in subtitles. Yeah.